Welcome back to another session of Self-Care for Healers. And I am privileged to introduce Elise Brenner, PhD. Elise Brenner is a Reiki teacher, mindfulness meditation teacher, and is a strong advocate for empowering people with sustainable mind-body skills. Brenner is committed to wellness equity in all of the services she provides. The owner of Brenner Reiki Healing in Newton, Massachusetts, Elise provides individual Reiki sessions, comprehensive training in all levels of Reiki, a low-cost Reiki clinic, and mindfulness workshops to individuals, groups, and workplaces. Brenner conducts Reiki and mindfulness sessions and training for physicians, nurses, social workers, teachers, veterans, elders, caregivers, children, college students, cancer patients and survivors, and businesses at Boston, Massachusetts area hospitals. Brenner is the co-author of a forthcoming book entitled Reiki, A Self-Practice to Live in Peace with Self and Other, which has been accepted for publications by O Books and will be published in January 2022. Elise is also the author of several articles about Reiki and mindfulness practice that have been published in magazines that are widely circulated in the healing and wellness community. Elise Brenner is Associate Professor in the Department of Public Health at Simmons University in Boston and is an instructor in the Department of Anthropology at Bridgewater State University in Bridgewater, Massachusetts. The intersection of Reiki practice, mindfulness, public health, and anthropology informs Elise Brenner's vision and mission for individual, group, and population level health and wellness. Again, it is my privilege to introduce Elise Brenner, and today she's going to talk to us about cultivating Earth Ki and discussing practices for regaining control in your life. So Elise, welcome.
Thank you so much, Peter, for that lovely introduction. I hope I can live up to it. And thank you for embarking on this series that I hope many will benefit from, including you and me. So hello, my friends. I'd love to offer some teachings today and then a practice. The theme, as Peter mentioned, I was invited to speak on is regaining a sense of control. And my little part, as Peter mentioned, cultivating Earth Ki. When I think about, regaining a sense of control, I think it's really helpful for us all to kind of admit that one of the reasons we suffer so much is because nothing really is certain. We can never know for sure what's going to happen next. Now, wouldn't it be nice if we could just kind of rise above the fray of it all? But we're part of the fray, and we're always going to be part of the fray. So what we can do is to smooth our rough edges, tame our tempers and fears. We can develop great insight and we can open our hearts. But as human beings, we'll always be vulnerable to this very complicated, messy, and unpredictable life that we live. So we may not have control or power over things, but we can practice standing in our own soul self, but it's not easy. And before we move into a practice, I would like to offer some reasons why this is so hard for us and why we really do want mind-body skills and practices. And the ones I'll be offering are based in Reiki and mindfulness. I wish I came up with this way of looking at it, but I didn't. And it goes like this. We always should remember that we're descended from, so to speak, the nervous apes. So out on the savannah, maybe the Australopithecines, these, they weren't humans, they were ape/humans, hominoids. The ones that were really vigilant and always looking for all the things that they can't control, but like being really like aware, they lived long enough to pass on their genes to the next generation. And so we live with that. We have that, where that's built into us. Because the apes that were chill, we'll call them the chill apes, They were like, hey, is that a leopard? That's chill. That's cool. Leopards are cool. And then boom, that's it. They get killed by the leopard. They don't live to pass on their chill genes. So all we get are these nervous ape genes, right? So, you know, when that little bubble of fear grabs us, we need to practice so it doesn't overtake us and overwhelm us and cause us to like spin out, right? It's happened to you, Peter. It's happened to me. It's going to happen to all of us. And when we just can't get that bubble of fear like down to a manageable size, we are going to have a really tough day. So we can invite in a practice of kind of returning to our soul self, because the roller coaster of uncertainty is going to happen. Actually, that we can't control that. Yet we resist that uncertainty. We resist the change and we cling to like control. We cling to control. But you know, no, if we can say this certainty, this uncertainty shouldn't be, I should be able to control everything, but that's not the nature of reality. And blissing out isn't going to change anything. You know, when we're struggling with fear, it's really awful. So we can acknowledge it. When we say, wow, I'm really struggling with fear right now, I wish I could control these things. Once we bring that into awareness, we can see, I guess we could say, we can see that that's not all there is of us. There's all kinds of space in here. There's all kinds of room in here. And some of that space and room we can spend acknowledging the reality. I imagine that you wish your physical therapy patients and clients would do that, right?
That would be great.
Yeah, because when we do that, it actually kind of disempowers the fear. Because it's not the thoughts and the sensations of fear and upset that are really the problem. The problem is how we relate and respond to them that creates all kinds of difficulty. So the point on this teaching is that we suffer less when we align our understanding of reality with the actual reality, which is change and uncertainty. I often say, hey, aren't we all just waiting for the next shoe to drop? So the question is, how are we going to live in the meantime? You know, because, you know, we want to know stuff. We want to know, we want to have control over information, but sometimes we don't. Sometimes we can't. And so sometimes we have to be kind of okay with not knowing. I don't know what's going to happen. I can't control what's going to happen. So we can say, I am in not knowing. And I'm going to be okay with not knowing. So despite all this external uncertainty that I can't really control, I can kind of take a kind of refuge in trusting myself and in the present moment of practice, trusting myself and in the present moment of practice. But it's not just ourselves. We can also feel safe when we have one another. When we're attuned to other people and their needs, we're in sync with that, we're in accord with that, we're in alignment with that. That's when we feel warmth and safety and comfort. Someone once said, it's like having Mr. Rogers inside us, right? It's like, oh, that sounds cozy. I don't mind that, right? So embracing change and uncertainty without other people on the one hand, and without mind-body skills on the other hand, is actually terrifying. But with these mind-body skills, we have like tools to be kind of okay with not knowing, to sit with uncertainty, to be with the reality of not being in control of every external circumstance, or maybe any external circumstance. So trusting ourselves to sit with uncomfortable thoughts and feelings, work with them, trust that we're not going to totally fall apart. And if we do fall apart, that's okay, right? We'll probably put ourselves back together a little, let's say, better or quicker than we would have if we didn't have a practice. And also when we fall apart, that's when we might really learn the most of what we need. So we may need to reach out for help. That may be something we need, right? That other people piece. So with our practice, we develop the capacity to remain present with our greatest struggles and our most challenging emotions. So whether we like it or not, when we turn toward our hardships and face our demons, we reveal the courage and stability already within us. And from there, we can kind of step back and settle down into a place of openness. And in that place, we can notice that we have gifts to offer the world, that we can be available to ourselves and others. So before we begin our practice, I will say that well-being is all about where our attention is. So when our attention is with reality, the reality of the here and now, including the solid body that we have, we'll have higher well-being. So mindfulness gives us the capacity, or doesn't give it to us, it helps us unleash the capacity to pause and notice where our attention is. We can focus attention and also direct our action intentionally and deliberately. And we're going to practice doing that with the body, the breath, and the hands. Being with the body, the breath, and the hands. So that is the end of the teachings, and we will move together on to practice.
Great.
Thanks, Peter. I always like to say, because I teach college, I'm not teaching to the front of the room, the students that sit in front. I'm not teaching to the back of the room. I'm teaching to the whole room. So I am teaching to everybody out there, those that have some spiritual or healing practice that they may have had for decades and decades, and those that are just dipping their toes for the very first time. So I hope all of you will find something to take away from this. I will be guiding, but there'll be, I'll be cueing you, and there'll be some pacing with silences plus cueing. And I'll also be appealing to your cognitive self every once in a while. So direct experience and cognitive self. So our whole beings will be involved.
Excellent.
All right, so join me, Peter, and all my friends out there. By taking a moment to focus on the sensations of breathing in and out. If it's comfortable doing so and you feel safe doing so, you may choose to close your eyes or lower the gaze. Perhaps feeling comfortable bringing the palms of the hands to the legs. If you are seated or lying down or standing, wherever they reach comfortably in a way that's supportive to the neck and shoulders. As you experience the sensations of breathing in and breathing out, perhaps feeling the support of the ground beneath you. feeling into, if possible, the nurturance of what is well within the breath and body at this time. Bringing attention to what is well within the breath and body at this time, and feeling the nurturance of that. And just allowing any feelings that are present to simply be without judgment, noticing whatever feelings that have arisen with a caring curiosity. Breathing in, sensing the spaciousness that exists within you. And breathing out, sensing the spaciousness into which we breathe as our breath allows us to become present and connect with our surroundings. Breathing in, sensing the spaciousness that exists within you. Breathing out, sensing the spaciousness into which we breathe. And then move into a practice known as Hara breathing, a most essential Japanese Reiki breathing practice. The word Hara simply means lower belly, similar to the lower tanden or lower Dantian, if you're familiar with that. If it's comfortable, considering bringing the hands to rest over that lower belly space in a restful posture of the hands, shoulders, neck. And when you're feeling comfortable and ready, experiencing a ki-filled, refreshing breath, energy-filled, refreshing breath, allowing that breath to drop, if it will, all the way down to the hara, the lower belly. And when that next out breath is ready to go, allowing that out breath to lengthen gently over the in breath. Allowing the out breath to last just a little longer than the in breath, without force, without hard work, without counting. Indeed, just allowing the out breath to lengthen over the in breath. Refreshing ki-filled in-breath through the nose all the way down to the hara space. A gently expansive out-breath through the nose or mouth, expanding out into the surroundings. Refreshing in-breath down to the lower belly, filling your body with ki and breath, oxygen. Feel that as refreshing, maybe centering. And that lengthened out breath experiencing that perhaps as expansive and spacious, like an offering of your refreshed self out into your surroundings, a connection through the breath that carries your soul self. Continuing with that lengthened out breath, that Hara breathing, and perhaps hands on, palms of the hands, encircling that lower belly space. We'll add that the Hara in Japanese Reiki teachings is our connection to earth ki, earth energy. And so as we continue this Hara breathing practice, we're connecting to the qualities within ourselves of earth ki, the qualities within ourselves of earth ki. And these are qualities like feeling solid, like the earth, having stability, like the ground on which we walk, having steadiness, qualities of earth ki, like feeling solidly anchored. And from here, we can stand on a platform of courage and composure in the face of the fray, of uncertainty, of all that we in reality can't control. So imagine now a snow globe, and you shake the snow globe, and we may think that the snow in that globe is very beautiful as it swirls about. But you know, when it's swirling about, we can't really see the scene in the snow globe very clearly. But what happens when the snow settles down and down and down? We can see that scene in the snow globe perfectly clearly. And that is like us, and that is like our nervous systems. So as we continue the Hara breathing, in that lengthened out breath, I'm going to appeal to your cognitive self and let you know that that lengthened out breath actually signals a portion of the brain. For those that are interested, it's the medial prefrontal cortex. Signals that lengthened out breath signals the medial prefrontal cortex to down regulate the nervous system. Down regulate that physical and emotional hyperarousal so that we can see things more clearly. We can see the reality, that uncertainty, and many things that we can't control. We can acknowledge that reality when we are in our capacities of earth ki. And that includes settling all the systems of the body, settling the nervous system like the snow in a snow globe. Continuing with that lengthened out breath. Imagine now the image of a palm tree in a tropical storm, in fact, and maybe some news media coverage of this tropical storm. The camera crew is going to show the top of the palm tree where the leaves and the branches are, a lot of turbulence, a lot of disturbance from the storm. But what would happen if the camera panned down all the way to the base of the palm tree? Well, nothing's happening there. So the camera crew would not do that, right? Because this is the stable part. But the stable part, the rooted and anchored solid part of the tree, is holding every piece of turmoil that's happening above it. So that's also like us. The Hara is the base of the palm tree. That lower belly, or more metaphorically, are qualities of earth key. And here at the branches are the turbulence of the mind, right? In Buddhism, the mind is called the organ of misery, and don't we know it? Has the capacity to ruin days and weeks and months of our lives. Thus, the Hara breathing, settling the nervous system, so we can be like that palm tree, holding any turbulence with some degree of feeling anchored in our qualities of earth key. So the body, like a mountain, as you continue your lengthened out breath, imagine the body like a mountain, and the seasons change on the surface of the mountain. The weather is changing. Precipitation is changing, right? The precipitation, the weather, the temperature, stormy, sunny, and the animal communities change. They undergo their changes. The plant communities, they undergo their changes. The water sources on that mountain, all of them always changing, because change, and even unpredictable change, is reality. And the mountain doesn't try to control the weather. It's the mountain. So if we can envision the body, the breath, the Hara like a mountain, we can pay attention and cultivate our own qualities of earth key. Now with the hands there at the Hara space, or perhaps you're feeling moved to bring your hands to another place in the body, any place, go ahead and do that now, or leave them where they were, or palm side down in the lap. I'm going to ask you to use your imagination. You're going to imagine, if you will, in any way that you can, that lengthened out breath is being breathed out through the palms of the hands. You can even just say to yourself, out breath through the palms of the hands. Sensing the connection between the breath, the hands, and the body. Sensing the connection between the breath, the hands, and the body as you imagine and experience that out breath through the palms of your hands, nourishing the body, and not just where your hands are, because all the body is connected. All the parts are connected. Lengthened out breath through the palms of the hands. Silently saying to yourself, may I be open to experience whatever it is that I may need at this moment for healing. May I be open to experience whatever it is that I may need at this time for healing. Lengthened out breath. Palms of the hands. Bringing that nervous system from sympathetic to parasympathetic mode. This is a space of great healing potential for ourselves. In just a few moments, I'm going to invite you to experience a sense of completion to this practice in whatever way that may mean to you. And Peter, I'll know when you have felt that moving into a sense of completion, because I'll know you opening your eyes and bringing your attention to this space we're in. Peter, and it's also, as Peter knows, I'm sure, a practice to frame the end with a sense of gratitude to one another for being present and for all the ways the teachings and practices have come down to us today for us to honor those practices, those that came from other cultures, honoring those cultures as well.
That was amazing.
And
Thank you.
sometimes it's amazing and sometimes it's incredibly boring. And so we don't want to always, it's great for you, but some of us, we don't have amazing. We have, okay, I'm done for today and now I'll practice again tomorrow. We practice in order to practice because it translates into real life and being able to meet the challenges and adversities with, as is the theme for our day, right? A sense of control. A sense of control. It's not easy. So I would like to suggest that we all offer a soft landing to anybody right now who needs it. So just in your mind, just say, offer a soft landing to all of us in need of that at this time. Thank you. These practices are actually, I told I was allowed to do this in the book. Yeah, in this book, which is co-authored by me and my co-author friend, Nancy Spatz. They'll be in this book, Self-Practices.
Thank you for sharing.
Thank you for letting me.
Okay, I'd like to also thank our audience for being present and being part of this journey with us. And until next time, be well.